It's turkeys and walleye and turkeys, and it's time to think spring. Next on the Journal. From the north, south, east, and west, from the woodland and plains and waterways, come challenges and thrills and excitement for every member of the wilderness family. These are our stories, our adventures from the wild places, both near and far. All of our hits and misses, the memories, our time spent living the wild life. Join us. Come past the streetlights. Step into the real world. The world of the Wilderness Journal. The Journal is underwritten by
The Ina Store, your Cadillac area Kubota dealer with a full lineup of Kubota tractors, utility vehicles, and equipment. For farm or food plot, it's the Ina Store in beautiful downtown Ina, Michigan. And by Mads Outdoor Products, a full-line Avalon dealer. Mads also features Featherlight trailers, livestock stalls and chute, as well as service, winterizing, and storage, inside or out. Mads Outdoor Product, in the center of it all, Harrison and Cadillac, Michigan. And by
With over a century of experience in the Indiana and Michigan area, Reith Riley is a full-service asphalt paving company handling commercial, industrial, and privately owned paving projects of all sizes. To learn more about Reith Riley,
and by J&J Smoked Meats, makers of ready-to-go, high-protein, low-sugar snacks. At home, or the game, anywhere, and everywhere. J&J Smoked Meat Snacks.
and by viewers like you. Thank you. Hi, friends, and welcome. On today's program, I'm going to do my level best to warm it up a little bit. We've been out in the cold. It's been a long winter, and I've truly enjoyed it. We've had some great deer hunts, even some ice fishing, other things we do in the wintertime. But when that calendar starts to roll over, I start looking forward to the sun coming back and getting back out in the woods and on the waters again. And if you're me, that means I'm looking forward to turkey hunts and walleye trips. Anything that goes good on a plate with morel mushrooms and some butter, if you get my drift. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to join some friends and some families on some turkey hunts, on a fishing trip, and hit 'em or miss 'em, friends. We're going to enjoy those first days of spring. Hey, I'm your host, Kyle Randall. This is my Wilderness Journal, and we're going out turkey hunting and walleye fishing right now. Friends, part of the reason we love going out in the spring is because everything is coming back. Everywhere you look, there's green up, there's new life, and many times, well, let's just say it's awfully entertaining.
That is one hungry fox.
Yes, it is.
Well, we ran into that little guy when we were out scouting, and I remarked to Ian, it looked like another hunter'd already got his bird. Still, we enjoy that kind of thing. It's what I'm talking about. Seeing the rebirth, the springtime come alive. In the spring, it's what I'm about. Yeah, just getting out. And on one of my first opportunities to get out, I went down to Ravenna, Michigan to hunt with our man Bill Funk. Unfortunately, by the time it got daylight, it also had started raining. Still, we were hearing birds. I realized we must be pretty close to a roost because even through the rain and the gloom, we could hear them really well. We sat there. I did some calling. And before too long, we actually started hearing and then seeing birds fly down. Through the raindrops in the brush, we could see more and more turkeys landing just out in front of us, about 100 yards away. I could see several white-headed toms working around in a circle. Bill had his crossbow ready, but so far, none of the birds had worked out into our opening. I was certain they could see our decoys. What I was also certain of was they could see at least some of those hens that were still back in the brush.
There's one way over there, Goblin.
All we could do was wait. And then finally, we heard a gobble, sounded like he was coming back. And then Bill noticed some motion out to the left. It was a deer.
That's the wrong critter. That's a deer.
No, friends, we weren't deer hunting, but on the upside, at least it had quit raining. For now. I went back to calling, and it wasn't long before we heard another bird. In fact, we could hear a tom and at least one hen, and they sounded like they were working in. We definitely had at least one tom coming in. I told Bill to watch down the side. We could hear them. They were coming left to right. All we really needed now was for one of them, some of them, to get out in front of one of Bill's shooting lanes. There was definitely a tom right there somewhere right in front of us. And then?
Called in a rabbit. It ain't rabbit hunting. Could be. It ain't rabbit season. No. Who are you, Elmer Fudd?
No, we weren't rabbit hunting, but my buddy Bill knows you don't get them all. We had a great time out there. Even in the rain, it was better to be out there in a turkey stand talking to some birds than sitting home on the couch. And speaking of getting out, we went over to the Detroit River not too long ago to hook up with my good friend Mr. Ty McCombs and his son-in-law Chase. They were going out on a walleye fishing trip, and I'm here to tell you, friends, if you hit that river right, it coughs up some tremendous fish. Ty, his son-in-law Chase, and I, and some other friends.
What?
Where'd you buy those fish at?
The market, just down the road. I had to look good.
We're all down fishing the Detroit River. The guys had booked a trip with Brian of Medicine Man Charters, and when Ty called and asked if I'd like to join him, it took me, 10 seconds to start packing. There is a fish there, right?
Yep.
Felt like a pretty big fish. Felt like a real big fish to me, but I could be wrong.
Good job, guys.
I think that's fish, Chase.
Yeah, it's good fish.
Chase just scared him.
Chase, trying to shove him off with the net. I say, well, it's not as big as yours anyway, Chase. It's all right. And we no sooner than got started, and it was clear why I wanted to go.
Just another good eater with O'Brien, the medicine man. That's right, Brian?
He seems to know where they're at, no doubt about it.
We've caught a couple. If you look in there, this is my limit right here. Still trying to catch yours.
Yeah, what'd you say? How many of those is yours?
All of them.
Oh, well, there you
I didn't
go.
say I caught them all. I'm just going to eat them all.
No, you can say whatever you want.
I'm just going to eat them all.
Chase and I got a ride home. Chase, you can use my truck. Don't worry about it. We'll get you home. Well, Ty and the rest of us were having a great day, and friends, the hits just kept on coming.
That's a walleye. Hey, that was on mine first. I got off and went right to his.
Well, that's good of you.
I'm a nice guy, ain't I?
You are a true conservator and a gentleman.
I think he's pierced in the
Oh, that's pretty good size, buddy.
It's a good size one.
Yeah.
That's a fatter right there.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
They're jumping in the butt. You don't got to throw them.
won't be the great.
You better quit throwing stuff. I'm old. My reactions ain't good. That fish is just a fry pan away from being perfect.
That's right.
The guys were doing a tremendous job. They were catching some really nice fish. And as you saw, some of them were coming so fast, it kind of looked like they were jumping into the boat. Still, even on that trip, yeah, we didn't get them all. You got a fish time, Combs?
He gone.
Combs.
Well, you want to play a fat camera, that's what happens.
Is that what it is? You won't be on TV, you got to be on
Hey,
TV.
I didn't say I want to.
Hey, I appreciate the effort.
I tried.
I do.
I tried. That's all I can do.
Hey, what are you laughing at? Now that's a wise young man, don't you think? Yeah, thanks again, Ty, and certainly Chase, for letting me go along and share your walleye fishing trip. We had such a great time. And I will say, friends, whether it's fishing or turkey hunting, for me, like I said, it is truly about getting out. And speaking of getting out, not too long after that, I got a chance to get out into the turkey woods with my friend Brett Harkins. We were set up on a mid-Michigan farm, and I was doing a little calling, and Brett was wondering just how far we might be calling to a turkey.
Now, can they hear that far? He can hear from here out to the road.
And then he got his answer. A couple of times, and at least one hen were working their way down along the second cut woods. I'd give a few calls, they'd gobble back, but what they weren't doing was coming any closer. It appeared to be that old bird in the hand thing. No matter what I said to them, all they seemed to want to say was, hey, come on with us. And yes, the look on Brett's face said we needed to try something different. Those toms obviously had at least one hen with them, so we decided to just sit there and watch them work their way out into the woods. And then after giving them a few minutes, we got up and snuck out into the woods ourselves, made a big circle. I wanted to try calling from a different direction. And speaking of different directions, we no sooner got set up by an old blowdown, and I started calling, and we had toms answering from out in front and behind us.
I mean, put your gun out there. He's going to come right in your face. That's the other one.
We had toms out front, at least one tom behind us. The problem now was which way to turn. It had turned into a foot race, and I figured the bird behind us was going to be the winner/loser, so I told Brett, quick, turn around. The bird behind us was definitely coming. But so were the birds in front of us. Poor Brett, I don't think he knew which way to turn.
There he is. Don't move so fast. He's right there. See him? Yeah. Shoot him. There you go. Hit him again. Hit him again. Hit him again.
Hopefully I hit him hard enough.
Yeah. We're going to find out. Let's go see.
Let's go.
Well, we did go have a look. Unfortunately, after searching for a little bit, I actually flushed that tom, and he flew straight up out over the trees, across the road, and out onto the neighbor's property. The neighbor's posted property, not that it really would have mattered because obviously Brett hadn't hit that bird hard enough. He was going to make it. Brett was going to go home with empty pockets. It's like I said, nobody gets them all. But speaking of getting them, on our next hunt, I had my grandson Ian out, and if he was even going to get a chance to fill the tag, he was going to have to do it that day. He had to head back to college that afternoon. So basically, the pressure was on yours truly to at least get him a shot. Ian and I were set up long before gray light, and not long after, we could see several deer and several crows working their way down the far edge of the field. We could hear a tom or two gobbling on the roost, but so far, we hadn't seen any. We sat there just waiting for a little more daylight when I noticed a hen working out into the field. Unfortunately, she wasn't coming our way. She was headed toward the deer. And then another popped out. There were a couple of hens feeding across the field. But Ian still hadn't seen a tom, at least not yet. We watched those hens work their way out, and then I started calling. And we could hear a tom answering. I thought I heard a tom up behind us as well. I wasn't real sure, but there was definitely a bird out across the field on the other side of the woods. And it appeared the hens were definitely headed that way.
Did you hear that?
There was definitely a tom over there, and the girls, even the deer, were all headed in his general direction. Still, there's a lot of turkeys on this farm, so I told him, you know what, let's just wait. Maybe I can call that bird back into us. And I thought that right up until one of the young deer started chasing the hens out of the field. It was good entertainment, but no, it wasn't going to get us a bird. After those hens left, it got pretty quiet. I did keep calling a little. And finally, after about another half hour, we heard that bird out across the field again.
Sounds like there's at least two birds across the road. Yeah, I heard them.
And it sounded like there might even be two of them.
I'm gonna just step out. Okay, call so I can hear.
The birds were far enough off that I decided to step out of the blind so they could hear me better, and so hopefully I could hear them. I could hear them across the road, and then it sounded like I heard one fly down. I heard Ian for sure going, hey, hey, hey. I stuck my head back in the blind and...
Right.
There was a tom already out in the decoys.
You see? Showed him. There you go. What kind of a mess was that?
You stood there when that guy flew down, stood right there, and I thought you stopped.
Well, I heard him, and that's why I stepped in, but I didn't know he flew right there.
No, and then you...
Well, I heard him come down. I heard that other bird way out.
Yeah, he's...
Nice job, man. What a train wreck you saved us
Gosh.
there, man. It's
Okay.
mosquito season
That was
special.
all over the place.
You awake now?
Yeah, I'm awake now.
Talk about a fire drill.
Hey, that full on.
That's one of the reasons I guess you don't get a, you're always taking a chance.
Oh, yeah.
But no, with my hearing, I had to get out there.
Yeah. Well, no, that usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, usually the birds don't fly down your lap.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we're lucky to get away with that. You did good, though.
Thank
Way
you.
to keep it cool.
Thank you. Nice job staying quiet.
Got in here without spooking him. That's the big thing.
It is.
Because he was, what, 15 yards away?
Yeah. He landed 15 yards away, so...
Who knew they were going to fly down right there?
Right.
That's awesome. Oh, well, sorry about that.
That's all right. It worked out.
That's one that'll be different than all the rest.
Oh, yes.
Friends, I just about messed that up for Ian. I got out of the blind to call to the bird we were hearing across the road, and what that Tom was doing still on the roost, I absolutely can't tell you. Why it flew down right in front of the pop-up blind, I can't tell you that either. What I can tell you is if you ask Ian, he'll tell you he doesn't know how I ever got back in that blind without blowing the whole thing up. Yeah, it was one of those things that may not have been the biggest Tom Ian will ever get, but we will definitely remember it. And fortunately, now it was time for him to go get his prize.
Oh, you want a knife?
Please.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is today the 21st?
Seems like it. Hey, nice job.
Thank you.
You hear that?
Yeah. I think I
There's another. Let's get this bird and get up. Let's go sit there for a minute. Go ahead. Take him back to the blind.
Congratulations, Ian. What a great bird and a great hunt. It really is one that we're going to remember for years. Friends, that's just about as close as you can get to a train wreck without getting burnt by the steam, if you take my meaning. And I really did enjoy it, and I really did appreciate Ian taking a little bit of time off his college work to come and share it with me. And while I'm handing out thanks, I certainly want to thank Bill and Ty and Chase and Brett, everybody that shared some of their get out time this spring with me. Friends, I yearn for this time of year. I wait for it. I plan for it. You see, out there is where I'm from. It's my home. It's not a place I just visit. And I truly look forward to getting out there and seeing it come alive again. I can't tell you how much I enjoy the time that I spend with you and all the people in the family, but the out of doors is where I'm best suited. Just ask Tina, she'll tell you. Hey, I hope we see some of you out there enjoying it. I hope you got a big old good one on the line or a Tom working in. And if I do run into you, well, you can bet I'm going to stop and share that cup and a fire, maybe a turkey or a fishing story or two. And if I don't see you out there, friends, well, you can bet I'll be right back here so we can share another adventure from my wilderness journal.